Hey Dave, thanks for coming on today.
Thanks for having me, Jason. I appreciate it.
So Dave, I know you have a wonderful CPA practice going on over there, but you guys are forensic accountants. And I know we talked about offline a little bit in terms of the partnership theft that your CPA firm deals with.
Partnership theft is very common. I think similar to how you might find with marriages, you frequently in businesses will have one partner that deals with all the financial side and another partner who does something else in the business, project management, or is dealing with sales or something like that. And we get a lot of partner theft cases where that person who's handling the money isn't doing what they're supposed to be doing and is taking a big chunk of it.
Now, Dave, you had a very interesting story about a franchise and a franchisee with some of the fraud that was going on there. What was going on in that case?
So that case was actually on the defense side. So instead of proving that someone was stealing, we were actually proving that someone was not. So it was a large national franchise that had been claiming that this person that owned some of the stores were not paying all of their royalties in because they weren't reporting their sales. So this franchise sent in fake customers with videos on them to prove and show that they weren't recording their sales properly, so they didn't have to pay their royalties. And then they got into their camera system to use that as evidence to show that the people were hiding and stealing money. So we actually were hired to be on the defense side of that case to show that that actually wasn't true at all. It actually was, they had a couple of different drawers because like some retail stores, if you get large bills, you put it in a different drawer in case you're robbed. In addition, we had to go over video after video after video over and over and over and over again to really look at what was happening and why the total sales weren't being reported the way they claimed it should have. I mean, the franchise is so big on their videos, they would actually draw pictures, highlight, look, here's where he's stealing money. Look at this. We got the receipt over here. Look at the receipt, doesn't have all the stuff on it.
Wow.
We were actually able, we spent a lot of time, but we were actually able to show that there wasn't any theft at all, that there was a software problem, and that every time someone bought cigarettes or liquor, that's the two cases that they, every single time they said there was theft, it would ask for your date of birth. Well, if they didn't put in a date of birth and they put pass, it actually took the sale off. So they weren't underreporting sales. They never actually collected the money. So if you went in and bought a pack of cigarettes and you bought a sandwich, it would ring up the cigarettes, ask you for your age. The clerk did not ask you what your age was. They hit pass. It then deleted the cigarettes, charged you for the sandwich. Because you would see at times, you could see the clerk, there was no sound, but the clerk would go, they keep looking at the number like, wait a minute, shouldn't this be a lot more money? And then they'd let it go, and you could see clearly they only collected for the sandwich. They didn't collect for the cigarette. So they weren't hiding the fact they weren't charging or paying royalties on it. And they were actually showing that we showed it never happened. So by the time we were done, all charges were dismissed, and actually the franchise had to pay them damages for the reputational damage and getting them shut down.
Oh my
So
God.
So it actually turned out very well for them, but they're no longer owners of the stores.
Oh wow.
They're out.
So Dave, that's when people hire you as a shield, right? But you also can be used as a sword in terms of like looking through numbers to see if theft existed. And what I love about you is your attention to detail. But what are the things that you get drawn to and that you're checking in a situation where you think that there's theft that's happening and you're being hired to try to investigate that part of it?
So believe it or not, the first thing we look at is psychology. We listen to what's going on in the case. We listen to what all the different mannerisms, what's happening in the case. What did your partner say? What do you do? What do you look at to really determine if there's a case? I think one of the things that makes us different is instead of sort of getting a shovel and starting to just dig through paperwork to see if it's true or not, we assess the case up front. And so far, knock on wood, we've never had a case that didn't have a huge amount of fraud in it because we're able to tell from the case up front. There can be times that, no, your partner's not stealing, the business isn't doing well. But then other times we look at the whole psychology and go, oh, that's clear. Now the question is not if there's theft, but what's the dollar amount? And so then we'll go in and depending on what's going on, who has access to what, where's the opportunity to steal, that helps us narrow down where we can look for that breadcrumb trail. then we go right in and we start tracking down evidence and getting proof and determining how much money we're talking about.